Converting decimals to fractions. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Cruz here again. So today we will go through the steps to convert decimals to fractions. Step number 1, read it using place values. Number 2, write as a fraction. Number 3, simplify the fraction. We've learned this before. It's called writing it in simplest form. Let's look at some examples. Here, in the first two decimals, these are actually really easy to write as a fraction in simplest form. First one, 0.3. The first step, read it as place values or using place values. So that will be 3/10. Next step, write as a fraction. So 3/10. The way it sounds, that's 3/10. If you look at 3/10, there's no other GCF except 1. So 3/10 is already in simplest form. So some fractions are really easy like that. Okay, for the next decimal, you have 0.11. If you notice, there are two place values there. You have 1 and 1. So this one is read as 11 hundredths. If you write down 11 hundredths, that will be already in simplest form. The next problem is 0.6. Let's zoom it up a little. 0.6. Again, you read it 6/10. Write it as a fraction, 6/10. Now, time to simplify it. 6 and 10 are both even numbers. If they're both even, you could easily divide it by 2 because they're even numbers. Simplify. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. That is your simplest form. Decimal to fraction. Move on to the next one. 0.18. That will be 18 hundredths. 18/100. 18 hundredths. So here, once again, they're both even numbers. So to simplify it, you divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then 100 divided by 2 is 50. And simplest form. Let's go to the last part. Okay, those are your steps again. This will be 0.28. Read it. 28 hundredths. Write it as a fraction, 28/100. You could find the GCF, or you could use continuous division. So I'm going to use continuous division. That's divided by 2. They're both evens. That's 40/50. 14/50. They're still both even numbers, so I'll continue to divide by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7/50 divided by 2 is 25. Or if you know your GCF, you could easily divide them by 4 because that's a GCF. Last but not least, again, read it. 75 hundredths. Write it as a fraction. 75 over 100. Okay, you could again find or use continuous division. That'll be divided by 5. Or some of you could find the GCF. You could say divide by 25. That's the GCF. 75 divided by 25. That's 3. 100 divided by 25. That's 4. And that's your simplest form. This is converting decimals to fractions.